Did the Gorosei fail in the whole Egghead Island operation? So, last chapter that dropped yesterday, we basically got the end of the Egghead arc, and I want to look at specifically the Gorosei. What have they done? What were their goals compared to the Straw Hat goals, and have they completed them? So, all the Gorosei we got to see over the arc, we got to see Saturn was introduced first. I think it was 1073. We got his name. In 1085, I think we got the rest of the Gorosei's names. And looking back at it, apart from Walkery, the rest haven't really done much in terms of like fighting feats. So I'd like to add, while recording this, I completely forgot about Saturn's whole eye thing that he used on Sanji, and I think Luffy. I completely forgot about it because after he performed the summoning, he never did this again. He never came back and did this again. I could be wrong. You can correct me in the comments. Saturn never came back and used this eye thing after after I think after Luffy punched him when Luffy and Bonnie met. After that, no, we never ever saw him used it again. But I completely forgot about it in this video, so that's a plus feat for Saturn. I'll give him that because they've all shown that they can regenerate very easily. Like I go with the King of Lightning type of thing where I don't think we should consider the regeneration as a tank feat. It's not really them tanking it. Walkery has shown he can tank, but the rest of them are just taking hits and just regen. Like Saturn, when Luffy and Kuma hit him, he went flying. He was cut up. His arms were cut up. Had a few holes. Even Luffy hit him last chapter. We can see he has holes, but I feel he's got a regen and he's gonna be fine. You know, Jupiter was chopped in half by Dory and Brogy. In that same chapter, the next chapter, bro was fine. He was back. He was kicking it nicely. Walkery has taken one heavy blow that has shown damage. That when Emmett hit him 2-3 chapters ago. He took one big hit. His tusk was broken. The next chapter we saw him, he was immediately back. Tusk regrown and everything. That's the one blow he's taken. But apart from that, Luffy has done damage to Saturn, Mars, Jupiter. He hasn't come across Venus. So those are three, and he's fought Walkery. So Luffy has engaged with four of them. So looking at them from a feat-wise fighting Luffy, Walkery is the only one who has taken Luffy's punches, Haki and all, and Luffy has taken more damage from that. Luffy has taken more damage from Walkery than any of the other Gorosei combined have done to Luffy. You know, the arc did, because when I remember watching when 1073 drops, the community was really torn, like, oh, the Gorosei are coming to Egghead. Are they combatants? Because at that point in the community, we still felt like there's a chance they're not really combatants, because we felt like Blackbeard had to be the final villain and the Gorosei didn't need to. But you're like, okay, he's here, so that means he goes to be coming to handle the Seraphim because Vegapunk has the highest authority. So if Saturn came, the Gorosei would have the highest authority. But I thought like, no, he was here to fuck shit up. We saw, so when Saturn touched ground on Egghead, we saw the magic circle with the 5, which is why people think is the weakest Gorosei. And then later on, the rest of the Gorosei was summoned in. So I think it's one Gorosei has to physically, let's say Dressrosa. They will send Jupiter to Dressrosa. He can use the magic circle onto the island, and then he can perform the summoning to bring the rest from Marizua. They can't just teleport around. But also, people are bringing up why hasn't anybody performed the summoning to bring back Mars from when Luffy fucking flung that nigga far away. But looking at it, he was flung away. Immediately after he was flung away, Walkery tried to jump at the giant's boat. Emmett hit him. At the same time, Jupiter was spacing out the CP5, 6, 7 agents and the Seraphim. Saturn was running on Jupiter and jumping onto the ship, and Venus was handling Zorro and the rest at the top. So they have not had a chance to even attempt to resummon Mars. However, right now, from what I know, in 1121, Saturn is damaged and going into the ocean. I think he'll be fine. He'll regen. Valkyrie and Jupiter are handling Emeth. And last we saw of Venus, he was recovering after Atlas's explosion. So I feel like he will recover, and he may be able to perform the summoning. He might be able to summon Mars back to the battleground, but we'll see. But I think for now, Mars is done, and that's it for the Gorosei in this arc. Going going over it, Ethan has the Shodai. So since they were introduced post Alabaster, we've been looking at his sword compared to Zoro with the Sandai, and we was like, yeah, that has to be the Shodai Kitet. So then we saw the Nida in one, and we're like, it has to be the Shodai. So it's confirmed as Shodai. Saturn indirectly, we learned through Bonnie and Kuma's flashback that Saturn gave Bonnie her fruit, so he indirectly created a second Nika. So I feel like the theory fans had a few chapters ago about how after this the Gorosei should ask the Gorosei or Emu should be there like, yo Saturn, that was a you thing. You did that. That was all you. So I don't know if there's any repercussions for that, but I feel like Uda's gonna skip over it like he did with the whole mystery. Because side tangent, the whole mystery about how what's it called? S-Snake Stone made Lilith, Usopp, and Frankie into stone. We didn't get anything. We don't know how Robin got injured. We don't know how they handled the Seraphim and got them into the bubbles. We don't know all this. Because 1078, last thing we saw, Luffy punching S-Bear. Next chapter we didn't see him. We come back, I think it was 1089. Not one thing was mentioned about what happened the night before. We still don't know how they got to the night before, how they linked up with Bonnie and she did Kuma's flashback. We still don't really know. And I'd like to know, but I think that Oda's not going to go back to that. But I digress. Back to the Gorosei. Mars hasn't really, combat-wise, Mars hasn't really fought anyone. The first time he got into any feasible combat, Luffy just flung him far away into Skypiea to the moon. However, he was used to show the Gorosei's observation haki while detecting all the different seraphim. Denden Mushi. Same with Saturn, he did the same. Walkyrie showed off their first Conqueror's haki feats, and then Mars and Saturn also showed it when they were load diffing Denden Mushi. Bit crazy, but I guess it's a feat they can load diff Denden Mushi. Jupiter, once again, all he did was he sucked up the Cypherpole members and the Seraphim, then spat them out. Overall, he really didn't do much, and while I enjoyed his design as base Jupiter, his worm, since he was really a worm, I have not been interested. He is the Gorosei I am least interested in. Walkyrie is the Gorosei MVP. He has shown off the best feats. He's shown off actual defense with his hard skin that's flame, shown off attack with his Conqueror's haki raw, his different attacks with the ancient robots, the giants, all these different things. Walkyrie has shown it. So feats wise, I'm scaling it. How I am scaling the Gorosei in terms of who's the strongest, who's the weakest. I say the weakest, from weakest to strongest, the Gorosei are Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Walkyrie/Mercury. That's how I'm scaling them in terms of strength. Walkyrie has to be number 1 and Ethan has to be number 2 because we've seen them do something. Because I forgot to mention, Ethan cut the Labostratum in half easy, one slice. So at least him and Walkyrie, we've seen some feats. We've seen something. For Mars, I haven't seen enough. Jupiter has not done a lot, apart from when he first went and attacked Luffy, but he got hit. apart from that, and Saturn, we've seen a lot of Saturn, but reason why I scale Saturn so weak is one reason. Chopper tanked. Chopper tanked him. Chopper, quote, arguably weakest Straw Hat. It doesn't even matter. Nami, Usopp, all three of the weakling trio were there when he was going for an injured Nico Robin, and he did not do shit. He had to flee, he had to run and do something else. Story wise, I understand it, but in terms of like as a fight, no, that nigga is trash. He Chopper tanked him. Usopp was able to keep on shooting his weird plants, handling him. Nami with Zeus, Big Mom hockey talks, I'll give her that, but still. Saturn has to be the weakest for me. Between Jupiter and Mars for who's third or fourth, I can argue, but 1 and 2 has to be Valkyrie has to be 1. Ethan has to be 2. So I'm gonna go over the Gorosei's slash CP0 slash the Marines goals on this arc, as well as the Straw Hat goals, but kind of it's not in any particular order, it's not in chronological order, it's just how I can remember them and going through the chapters of Egghead, how I've written them down. So I'll go with the Straw Hat's goal. Straw Hat's first goal was come to the island and get their what's it called? The direction, there's compass. I forgot what it's called. The log pose. To get their log pose to aim towards the next island. That's why they were here. So that one achieved. Escape with Vegapunk. That didn't happen. Vegapunk's dead. That's an L on. That's mostly an N on Sanji's L, because Sanji said he'll protect him with the power of love. That shit wasn't it. They were meant to stall. Basically, this was really like a goal they had. It's kind of like a goal the story imposed on them out of necessity to stall for Vegapunk's message to begin, which they did. So that's a dub on them. Protect Robin. That's an anti-feat for Saturn. So overall, Gorosei anti-feat. So they got that. Protect Kuma and Bonnie. Another anti-feat for all of them. Multiple times. Robin, like I said, was handled by the rest of Straw Hat and Saturn. Kuma and Bonnie, Frankie had an amazing arc. Frankie deserves his own video somewhere about how this was an MVP arc from Frankie. 2. Sanji technically did some things. He did help protect Kuma, Bonnie, and Vegapunk against Kizaru. In fact, Kizaru on this video, that's a big Kizaru L right now. Last we saw of him in 1121, he was facing north with the dragon ellipses. So what happens next, we don't know. Protect Kuma, protect Bonnie, that was all the Straw and escape the island, which they have done. The Straw Hats have escaped. Now, escaping with Vegapunks, they fucked up on that part. Well, Sanji fucked up, but that's an overall fuck up for them. They still have Lilith, so I give them a 10% dub. That's a 10% Straw Hat dub for getting at least one of them out with the help of Atlas. Let's go to the Gorosei slash the other side's goals. CP0 was sent to kill all Dr. Vegapunks, but York was in a weird grey area where the Gorosei told them to kill her, but she was able to bring them back to you, don't kill me, so that's still okay. Gain control of all the Seraphims by killing Vegapunk and Sentomaru. Sentomaru fucked up their plans, but they handled that, and then the Vegapunks handled that, and they even had the Seraphims locked away. However, the Gorosei have come in. We haven't seen the Seraphim do shit since the Gorosei touched land. The Seraphim have been underutilized, so we don't really know what they can do. And I feel the other 3 satellite, Seraphim, we haven't seen in action. We've just seen them go into action. They wanted to protect the island from not suffering that much damage, as the tech on Egghead had value to them, like the Mark III Pacifistas, the Mother Flame, all this. To an extent, the Mother Flame should be good. I don't think Ethan cut it, but the Mother Flame should be good. Punk Records should be good. What else? They have York, so from that front, they were perfect. Killing everybody but York turns into them preventing the Straw Hats and Bonnie from leaving. Yeah, they fucked that up completely. They fucked that up. Apart from killing what? Indirectly, they only led to the death of... Because York killed Shaka. Atlas blew herself up. Edison basically did himself the most damage while going through the dome. The barrier, and yeah, who else is there? Pythagoras, that one, even York handled that one. So basically, the Gorosei, CP0, and the Marines themselves did not do shit to kill the Vegapunks. York killed the most of them. York is MVP over there. And finally, the goal for preventing the message from going out. This was the biggest L they've taken. The biggest L. And I'll get into it in a minute. So, while they did kill Vegapunk and the other satellites indirectly, that's a dub. They got York Mother Flame Punk Records, that's a dub. They had the Seraphim, that's a dub. They took an L because Vegapunk's message did go out. The message was said to the world. Everything was heard apart from the part for the Will of D, which is the one thing we as the audience didn't know, but Oda has to keep that away. Lilith is still alive, and Bonnie and Kuma are free. So, to conclude, while looking at all the Gorosei's main objectives and goals, they achieved most of them. But the L's they did take overweigh the main dubs was the York Punk Records and Mother Flame. However, that does not fucking matter if the main L was the public is now aware ancient weapons exist and they are in use, and Lucia is no longer around. Joy Boy and the Void Century, the Ancient Kingdom, the Ancient War, all this is public knowledge and is known, which has led to, in Vegapunk's last message, the race for the One Piece is back on with more hype even after even after Whitebeard and Roger. It's even more hype now. We've seen the main players, and Oda is hinting at maybe even Akainu. If Akainu decides, fuck the world government, I don't like what they're doing, I'm going for the One Piece, I'm gonna show off my justice, the world government could lose the Marines. They've already lost the Warlords, they have SSG now, the Seraphim, and they might lose the Marines. This has been a big L. So overall, I feel like the Gorosei didn't fail at their main jobs and their main roles here, but they did, in the grand scheme of what they've been doing the last 800 years, they did lose, and this is a big, big L for the Gorosei. But anyway, let me know what you feel in the comments. I'll catch you next time. Peace.